Here's your First Warn Weather forecast first, sponsored by Anderson Collision Center. Visit driveanderson.com.
Keeping an eye on some thunderstorms that are now moving into far northwest Illinois. In fact, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning out for Joe Daviess County, southwestern Stevenson County, and northwest Carroll County, and that will run until 5:30 here this evening. It is for this thunderstorm just to the west of Stockton and Elizabeth. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts will be possible as that storm is moving to the northeast at 40 miles per hour. Some additional thunderstorm activity back further to the west. We'll talk about how long that severe threat will stick around coming up in the First Warn forecast a little later.
A drop in local crime, the latest numbers from the city of Rockford on violent offenses.
Plus, construction season is underway. How one spring campaign looks to keep workers safe while on the job.
And promoting organ donation, the special ceremony inspiring local residents to save lives.
Live from WTVO 17. This is Eyewitness News at 5.
Good evening, I'm Mimi Murphy.
And I'm Tom Lewis. We'll get to those stories in just a moment. But first, as Candace mentioned, State Line might be in for some severe weather.
Let's check back in with the Weather Center. Candace, what's it look like out there now?
Well, we've got some thunderstorms that continue to move across portions of northwest Illinois and a few additional non-severe thunderstorms just to the west and southwest right now of Rochelle that'll have some heavier downpours and then some frequent lightning. But our attention is really focused on the storm that is moving across northwest Joe Daviess County, just west of Stockton and Elizabeth. Right now, that does have a severe thunderstorm warning until 5:30 this evening. The biggest threat with that going to be 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts as that storm is moving to the northeast at about 40 miles per hour. So very soon that'll be moving towards the Stockton area and then moving closer to northeast Joe Daviess County. Some additional thunderstorms developing just to the west of Pearl City and then back down a little further to the south across portions of Carroll County. But some stronger winds here just west and south of Elizabeth, and that's kind of where we're keeping an eye on the strongest wind gusts currently at the moment. But also a warm front really sits across northwest Illinois. So we're kind of paying closer attention to the southern extension of this thunderstorm as that continues to kind of move closer to where that warm front sits. Some additional thunderstorms are back off to the west in Iowa, where there have been numerous severe thunderstorm warnings and even a couple tornado warnings southwest of Davenport, now moving near the Iowa-Illinois border in west central Illinois. So this first round moving through, and I think the greatest severe risk right now going to be where that severe thunderstorm warning is in Joe Daviess County. This is the second line. If this does hold together and maintain its strength, that would also pose a severe risk here as we get closer to about 6:30, 7 o'clock this evening. And kind of all modes of severe weather would be possible with that: hail, wind, and then an isolated tornado. Isolated tornado risk is going to be there, especially with that warm front sitting very close to us. As we get closer to about 9, 10, 11 o'clock tonight, most of that activity is going to be moving out of the area. Some additional thunderstorms will be possible going into early tomorrow. And then we've got a cool down coming up. It's a brief one by the end of the week. So we'll look a little further at that coming up here in the First Warn forecast a little later.
All right, Candace, thank you. Rockford police released their numbers for crime last month. Across the board, there's been a drop. Violent crime down 20%. Robbery has seen a 34% decline. Shots fired down 27%, and aggravated assaults dropped 19%. Police say nearly 58% of all violent crime is domestic related.
Rockford's Public Works Department was busy for the month of March. Workers patched more than 5,000 potholes throughout the city. 25 lead service lines were replaced and 521 million gallons of water was pumped. The department says 89% of their projects were completed on time. This week marks National Work Zone Awareness Week.
It is a time to bring attention to the dangers faced by those who work on our interstates and highways. Blake Dietz learned more about those risks today. Blake.
Mimi, Tom, the Illinois Department of Transportation says they cannot stress enough the importance of safe driving on roads across the state. 24 people were killed in work zones across the state in 2023, according to IDOT statistics. Police officers are also often victims of unsafe driving, with dozens being hurt or killed over the last few years, including DeKalb County Sheriff's Deputy Christina Mussel, who was killed last month on Route 23, and a local Illinois State Trooper in 2019.
Trooper Brooke Jones Story was struck and killed while on a traffic stop on US 20 just west of Springfield Road. that have been in Stevenson County. Safety, it's just as important. You got individuals on the side of the road, whether it be a tow truck driver, a stranded motorist who's a family member. It's just important to be aware of your surroundings and drive responsibly.
Officials add those most often hurt in work zone crashes are the drivers and passengers themselves. They say slow down and reading signs are keys to keeping everyone safe. Tom?
All right, Blake, thank you. Supreme Court hears arguments in a case that could invalidate felony obstruction charges for more than 300 people connected to the January 6 riots. At issue is whether a federal law enacted in 2002 to prevent the cover-up of financial crimes can be used to put some January 6 defendants behind bars. One riot participant argues the government's reading of the law should apply only to the types of financial and evidentiary crimes the law was intended to target. Justice Sam Alito asked the government's lawyer if the law allows them to discipline courtroom hecklers in the same manner as insurrectionists.
And I think it's in a fundamentally different posture than if they had stormed into this courtroom, overrun the Supreme Court police, required the justices and other participants to flee for their safety, and done so with clear evidence of intent to obstruct.
Absolutely. What happened on January 6th was very, very serious, and I'm not equating this with that. But we need to find out what are the outer reaches of this statute under your interpretation.
2 of the 4 counts in the federal indictment against former President Donald Trump involved the 2002 law.
Another Supreme Court case could change what constitutes corruption in politics, impacting a trial for former Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan. The court officially heard arguments yesterday. The case determines if an agreement must be made between a politician and an outside entity as a way for it to constitute bribery. One UIS professor says it's not good for public perception of politics if there's any narrowing of the definition of corruption.
If you're limiting kind of the primary go-to statute, then it's going to make it more difficult to bring and win cases, and that's that may have a chilling effect on the public's perception about how politics is played.
Madigan's trial has been delayed until the fall if the court narrows the definition of corruption that could affect some charges Madigan's facing.
2 local organizations come together to celebrate organ donors. Fitzgerald Funeral Home held a ceremony commemorating National Donate Life Month. Joy Beach was invited to share the story of her donor son, John. Through his decision to donate organs, eyes, and tissue, John helped 160 people enhance the quality of their life. Organizers say everyone should consider signing up to donate.
So there's a lot of people that are waiting for those needed organs to save their life. And a great opportunity for someone to make an impact for other people. So we think that's an important story, and we think that that's something that people should really think about and really take a step and become a donor. I know I am.
More than 5,000 people across Illinois and Indiana are waiting for a life-saving organ transplant.
The threat for severe weather closes in on the state line.
Up next, we'll check in with Joey Marino as he chases down the storms.
And coming up at 6, a new food distribution facility opens in the state line. The state-of-the-art center paving the way for General Mills' future. Our weather team is out and about watching the storms roll across the state line.
Yeah, let's check in with meteorologist Joey Marino for the latest. Joey, what's it looking like where you are?
We're having some technical difficulties. Hopefully we can get back to Joey in just a bit.
Yeah, those storms expected to stick around. Of course, we'll check in with Candace again later on in the broadcast for updates on the storms.
After the break, Candace will let us know when things could dry out.
Now, your first warned weather forecast from Chief Meteorologist Candace King.
Well, keeping an eye on a couple of thunderstorms as those begin to move across portions of northwest Illinois. In fact, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning out for Joe Davies County, far southwest Stevenson County, and Carroll County now out of that warning. That warning will run until 5:30 here this evening. Biggest threat with the storm now that is lifting just to the north of Elizabeth up towards Scales Mound and then moving into southwest Wisconsin. Going to be 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts as that storm is quickly moving off to the northeast. In fact, when we look at our velocity, there's nothing that that would indicate any sort of rotation, just the possibility for some stronger winds. So right now, that's the biggest threat as that storm is moving to the west and northwest of Stockton, although could be some stronger winds there right along Highway 20, just to the west of Stockton as well. Some additional thunderstorms are also developing here. We've got a few isolated thunderstorms down near Rochelle, and then also in western Ogle County, just south of Polo, as that thunderstorm has started to develop too. There's actually a warm front that sits very close to northwest Illinois and then extends back down to the southeast. So we're actually watching some of these thunderstorms as those move closer to where the warm front sits here this evening. Second line of thunderstorms moving across eastern portions of Iowa. This by far has had quite a bit more activity with it. Numerous severe thunderstorm warnings and even tornado warnings too. In fact, the warnings continue to get issued as that line progresses further to the east. All of this actually is moving to the east and northeast and will actually increase our severe weather threat over the next couple of hours. So right now, anything that forms on the isolated scale, but we'll be keeping an eye on that line of thunderstorms as that moves closer to us. This would be after about 6:30 here this evening. Wind and hail going to be the primary threat, but there is still that tornado risk with the thunderstorms as they move through. One, because we're building up a little more kind of wind shear in the environment, and the forcing is increasing, and those storms will be moving very close to where that warm front sits. So our threat actually locally will be increasing over the next several hours with that severe threat. So you want to make sure you've got multiple ways to receive the watches and warnings as those do get issued. We'll likely see at least a few more here as we go through the rest of this evening. Now, once we get to about 10, 11 o'clock tonight, most of that activity will start to wind down just a bit, but another set of thunderstorms will be possible very early tomorrow as the cold front moves in. So this would be just before sunrise tomorrow morning, east of I-39, and then move further to the east as that system as a whole and that cold front pass by the afternoon tomorrow. So things will be much more quiet by tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. We'll clear out a little bit as we head into Wednesday night into Thursday, but rain showers will be possible going into Thursday afternoon. So when we look at our threats here, as far as what we've got for the remainder of this evening, the hail and wind threat going to be on the higher scale, but again, that tornado risk is there with any thunderstorm that does move across northwest Illinois, north central Illinois, and south central and southwest Wisconsin. So we do need to keep an eye on these storms as they progress to the east. Temperatures are in the 70s here this evening, 60s to the north, and that kind of tells us where that warm front sits. It's progressed a little further to the north into northern Illinois, and as that low pressure system pulls to the east, which right now is sitting near Sioux Falls, that'll actually help pull that warm front northward, and we've got a little moisture to go along with it too. Our dew point temperature has jumped. The last hour we were at 59, that dew point number now up to 62. So that's another thing that'll help kind of increase that severe threat. When we look at our SkyTrack camera, you can see the clouds a little on the darker side there to the north and northwest. This is out at the Park Hills Golf Course in Freeport here this evening. So scattered thunderstorms with that severe risk will continue for the next several hours. Temperatures tonight are in the 40s. Tomorrow we're in the mid 60s, but dropping a bit by the afternoon, and then we'll round out the week with some sunshine and temperatures in the 50s.
All right, we'll have to stay on alert for any watches or warnings. Thanks, Candace.
Scott's in next with sports. The Bulls are getting ready for NBA playoff play-in action. We'll get some thoughts on that from a former Illini star.
And Cubs first baseman Michael Busch could go from sharing a Cubs record to owning it all by himself tonight.
Now sports with sports director Scott Lever.
The Bulls will try to get into the NBA playoffs the hard way by winning 2 play-in games. It starts tomorrow night when they have to defeat the Hawks at United Center to survive and advance. Last year, the Bulls won their first play-in game but lost the second one. Io knows this is a lot like the NCAA tournament. Win or you're out.
All means a lot. I mean, of course, it's Game 7 mentality. Win or go home, survive and advance. So that's pretty much the mindset that we have. We know that we have no margin for error, and we know that a next loss within our next 2 games could end our season, and we want to keep playing. We want to try to make a deep postseason run. So that's the mentality that we have.
All right, now one of the best offseason moves in baseball looks like the one the Cubs pulled off when they got Michael Busch and pitcher Yency Almonte from the Dodgers for 2 minor leaguers. Busch has been one of the biggest surprises in baseball, homering now in 5 straight games. His home run here last night tied him for the Cubs record. The others to homer in 5 straight were Hack Wilson, Sammy Sosa, Ryan Sandberg, and Christopher Morel. If Bush is in the lineup tonight in Arizona, he could take over the record all to himself. The White Sox will host the Royals again tonight if the rain doesn't wipe it out. Sox are 0-5 against the Royals this season. It's a sad day for Cardinals fans. Former manager Whitey Herzog has died at the age of 92. In the 1980s, Herzog guided the Cardinals to 3 World Series appearances, and they won one of those in 1982. They played Whitey ball, a style built around speed and defense. Herzog also managed the Royals before going to St. Louis. One of the added benefits of having the Sky Carp next door to us in Beloit is we get to see some of the Cubs' young prospects a few times a year. This is one of those times with the South Bend Cubs in town this week. They played an afternoon game in Beloit today, and one of those prospects is starting pitcher Nick Hall. He struck out the first 5 Sky Carp batters that he faced. There's also Yohendrick Pinanjo. He hammered this solo home run in the top of the 2nd. That put the Cubs in the lead. But the Sky Carp got it going. Second baseman Josh Zamora cranked out his first home run of the season in the bottom of the 3rd inning. DH Cam Barstad then drills one that's going to carry over Cubs center fielder Brett Bateman. That scored 2 runners, and Beloit led 5-4. The Sky Carp had a new addition at the top of their lineup, center fielder Mark Coley, just up from Low A, Jupiter, Florida. And what a debut for him, because here in the bottom of the 4th, Coley hit a grand slam, and the Sky Carps won the game 11-5. Tomorrow, they're going to have an early 10 a.m. start. At Sports, we'll be right back.
Well, our weather team's out and about watching the storms roll across the state line.
Yeah, I think we got their signal this time. Let's check back in with meteorologist Joy Marino for the latest. Joy, what's it looking like where you're at?
Hey, thank you, Tom. Yeah, we had a bit of connection issues about a couple of minutes ago. We were traveling from Mount Carroll all the way down towards Sterling. We're actually just sitting west of Sterling right now, right next to Highway 30. And we have seen a little bit of clearing moving into these areas. You can see that there's a little bit of blue sky. We see some sunshine. We actually were looking at the storm, the severe warning storms that were to the north as we were tracking south from Mount Carroll, and they were really elevated. We really didn't see much evidence that the storms were surface-based, meaning they had a better potential for tornadic activity, elevated storms mainly. But now we're going to be tracking towards Sterling. We're going to be keeping an eye on the storms that are tornado warned, that are southwest of Davenport. I think we're going to be sitting near Sterling and keeping an eye on those storms as they track across the Mississippi and into northern Illinois. But we're live here just west of Sterling. I'll send it back to Candace in studio.
All right, thanks, Joey. Now, is that good news that's clearing, or could that be a problem?
Well, sunshine does add a little more instability, so we'll be battling that as we get towards sunset. But the fact that there is a little more sunshine, we could build up some of that instability, which would feed the thunderstorms that are currently in eastern Iowa right now that Joey was mentioning that had the severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings too. And I think when we see that threat here, it's actually going to increase over the next couple of hours for a portion of the area west kind of I-39. So we'll really be keeping an eye on that here as we get through about 9-10 o'clock tonight.
All right, thanks, Candace.
And thank you for joining us. Have a great night, everybody.